They mocked you for being different. Maybe it was the way you think, the way you speak, or the choices you made when everyone else followed the crowd. They said you were strange. They laughed when you tried something new, when you refused to blend in. But here's what they didn't realize. Every person who ever changed the world once looked out of place. Every strong soul was once misunderstood. They mocked your silence because they needed noise to feel alive. They mocked your focus because it reminded them of what they lacked. They mocked your peace because it made their chaos harder to ignore. So they turned your difference into a joke. They laughed to make themselves feel right. But they forgot one thing. The same stone they throw at you today will build the foundation of your tomorrow. The Stoics understood this long before us. They knew ridicule is often the tax you pay for authenticity, and that those who dare to stand alone eventually stand above. In this video, you'll learn why being different is not a curse but a compass, why rejection is often the proof that you're on the right path, and by the end, you'll see how the quiet, consistent strength of your difference will one day silence every laugh that ever tried to define you. There's a quiet kind of pain that comes from being different. It's not the loud humiliation of failure. It's the subtle ache of not belonging. You walk into a room and feel eyes that don't understand you. You speak, and people exchange looks as if what you said doesn't fit the script. And after a while, you start to wonder, maybe something is wrong with me. That's how society works. It trains you to conform, not to think, to follow, not to question, to mirror the majority, even when the reflection doesn't feel like you. In a world that celebrates trends, sameness becomes safety. And the moment you step outside that pattern, the moment you live with intention instead of imitation, the crowd notices. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you've broken an unspoken rule. You reminded them of their own compromise. That's why they mock you. Not out of clarity, but out of confusion. They don't understand your restraint, your silence, your refusal to join in their noise. To them, your calm looks like arrogance. Your purpose feels like a threat. But here's the paradox. The same difference that isolates you now is the seed of everything powerful that will grow later. Every thinker, creator, and leader that shaped the world was once laughed at. Not because they were foolish, but because they were early. And being early has always looked wrong to those who arrive late. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know what they are talking about." It's a reminder that truth doesn't need to be popular. It just needs to be real. And yet, in today's world, especially in places that prize politeness and predictability, like Canada, standing apart feels harder than ever. Everyone says they value authenticity, but few people truly accept it when it shows up in its raw form. Because authenticity exposes what conformity hides. That's where Stoicism becomes more than philosophy. It becomes honor. It teaches you that the goal isn't to be understood by everyone. It's to understand yourself deeply enough that misunderstanding no longer breaks you. It's the kind of strength that doesn't roar. It endures. It doesn't fight for approval. It simply exists without needing permission. So in this video, we'll go deeper into 3 things. Why people mock what they can't comprehend. How the Stoic mindset transforms rejection into resilience. How to turn your difference into quiet, lasting victory. By the end, you won't see their laughter as rejection. You will see it as recognition. Because when the crowd laughs, it's often the universe whispering, "You're not one of them. You're not supposed to be." And that's where your real journey begins. The path not of fitting in, but of standing firm. A path where every insult becomes insight, and every laugh a sign you're walking where few have the courage to go. They laugh because they don't understand. It's that simple, and that human. When people see something that doesn't match their world, their instinct isn't curiosity, it's defense. They protect what's familiar by attacking what's different. It makes them feel safe, like they still belong to the majority. The Stoics understood this long ago. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." He wasn't glorifying ignorance. He was warning you that growth will always look strange to those who stay still. When you choose stillness over noise, people think you're weak. When you refuse to gossip, they think you're arrogant. When you say no to drama, they call you detached. But in truth, you're just protecting your peace, something they haven't learned to do yet. People mock what they secretly admire but don't have the courage to live. They call your simplicity boring because they're addicted to distraction. They call your calm cold because they can't stand their own chaos. They call your focus obsession because they've never built anything that required discipline. Their laughter is not about you. It's a mirror of what they're missing. Most people are afraid of difference because it challenges the illusion of certainty they've built their lives around. If your choices make them question their own, their first reaction is not respect, it's rejection. They push back because your courage reminds them of their fear. It's the same pattern everywhere. At work, the one who refuses to join office gossip is labeled aloof in friendships. The one who grows quietly is called changed in families. The one who sets boundaries is called selfish. They mock what they can't control, but what they really fear is exposure. Your calm exposes their anxiety. Your focus exposes their distraction. Your self-discipline exposes their weakness. That's why ridicule is such a common weapon. It's cheap, it's public, and it doesn't require courage. Mockery lets people avoid confronting their own insecurities. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the wise man to rise above injuries." He knew that insults reveal more about the one who gives them than the one who receives them. When they laugh, they're confessing, not about you, but about themselves. The truth is, most laughter is camouflage. Behind every joke about your difference is a trace of envy, a shadow of fear, and a hope that maybe you'll give up and come back to being just like them. When you start walking a different path, you remind people that they, too, could have chosen differently. And that's uncomfortable, because deep down, everyone knows the cost of following the crowd, the quiet exhaustion of pretending, the dull ache of living by someone else's rules. Your difference becomes a mirror. Every time you stand your ground, it reflects their surrender. Every time you act with purpose, it exposes their hesitation. Every time you stay true to your values, it reminds them how easily they traded theirs. That's why the attack, not because you're wrong, but because your existence makes them question everything they've accepted without thought. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That single line captures the heart of Stoic strength. You don't need to respond to mockery. Your calm refusal is the loudest reply. They want you to react, because reaction is validation. When you don't, their power dissolves. That's the secret the crowd never learns. They only win when you play their game. So when they mock you, don't argue, don't explain, just keep moving, because while they're busy laughing, you're busy building. And one day, the noise that once surrounded you will fade, but what you've built will remain. The laughter never lasts, but the lesson does. In time, people stop laughing when they realize you didn't break. That's when silence replaces mockery, and silence is the first sign of respect. You'll notice it. The same voices that once ridiculed you will grow quiet when you succeed. Not because they finally understand, but because they can't deny what your persistence created. They'll say things like, "You were lucky," or "You changed." But you'll know the truth. You didn't change. You endured. The Stoics taught that endurance is not passive suffering. It's active strength. It's choosing to keep walking through ridicule, through misunderstanding, Through loneliness, because you know the path is right, even when no one else can see it. And that's the moment your difference transforms into destiny. The thing they mocked becomes the thing that defines you. Your patience becomes your power. Your restraint becomes your reputation. Your silence becomes your statement. You no longer need to defend who you are. You simply are. So let them laugh. Every laugh is a sign you stepped beyond the limits of their comfort. And every time you choose not to return that laughter, you grow quietly, steadily, unshakably. Because one day, the world stops laughing and starts learning from the one who dared to be different. The hardest thing about being mocked isn't the sound of laughter. It's the silence that follows. That moment after everyone's gone. When you replay every word, every glance, wondering if maybe they were right. It's in that silence that the real battle begins, the one between who you are and who the world wants you to be. The Stoics faced that battle too. They lived in empires obsessed with wealth, status, and applause, yet they chose restraint over vanity and character over comfort. They knew that the opinions of others are like passing storms, loud, but temporary. Your task is not to stop the storm, but to remain standing when it passes. Resilience, to the Stoics, isn't about pretending you're unaffected. It's about feeling everything and still choosing not to collapse. It's about standing in the rain until your heart learns it won't drown. When they mock you, you don't need to fight back. You just need to last longer. Because time is the only truth teller, and the one who endures the longest always wins. Resilience begins with a decision, a quiet vow that no insult, no rejection, no misunderstanding will decide your worth. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's a choice you make when no one's watching. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He was reminding himself and you. That peace starts where control begins, inside. You can't stop people from judging you. You can't control how they talk, laugh, or label. But you can decide that none of it will enter your mind without permission. You can build a boundary stronger than pride, made of clarity and calm. In modern life, especially in a world obsessed with social approval, this is harder than ever. You're judged not only by what you do, but by what you don't post, what you don't say, what you don't share. Resilience now means knowing who you are even when no one validates it. Because once your sense of worth depends on being understood, you've already given it away. True strength is built in the moments you're misunderstood and remain unmoved. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." He saw hardship as a kind of spiritual gymnasium. Every mockery, every failure, every doubt, a repetition, building endurance, shaping your mind to stay calm under pressure. You can't develop Stoic resilience by reading about it. You have to live it. You learn it when you're left out, when your ideas are ignored, when your kindness is mistaken for weakness. You learn it when you stop chasing applause and start chasing peace. The modern world celebrates quick success, but Stoic resilience grows slowly. It's the quiet persistence of doing what's right when no one notices. It's showing up every day without needing validation. It's waking up and saying, "I'll keep walking, even if no one walks with me." Because resilience isn't built in comfort. It's built in solitude. And solitude isn't loneliness. It's the training ground for those who will one day lead. One of the hardest Stoic lessons is learning not to fight noise with noise. When you're mocked, your ego wants to defend itself. It wants to explain, prove, justify. But explanation rarely changes minds. It only drains your peace. Epictetus taught, "When someone provokes you, know that it is your own opinion which provokes you." He meant that no insult has power until you agree with it. The real defense is not words, it's indifference. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring wisely. You stop wasting energy on those who haven't earned your attention. You invest that energy into your craft, your growth, your discipline. Let your progress be your answer. Let your peace be your proof. When you rise without explaining how, you take back a kind of power that mockery can't touch, and one day they'll look at you and realize you never needed their understanding to win. Stoic resilience is not the absence of emotion. It's emotional architecture. It's learning how to build with pain instead of breaking from it. It's understanding that every moment of ridicule, rejection, or misunderstanding is a teacher disguised as discomfort. You start to see the mockery differently, not as a wound, but as weight training for the soul. Each insult adds resistance, each rejection builds endurance, and slowly, the things that once crushed you now strengthen you. The Stoics didn't avoid pain, they befriended it. They knew that comfort creates fragility, but struggle builds character. So when life laughs at you, don't rush to silence it. Let it echo and listen, because that sound is proof you're walking a path others fear to take. And one day, long after the laughter fades, your resilience will be the only thing that remains, quiet, steady, unbreakable. There's a strange thing that happens when you stop defending who you are. At first, people laugh louder, test your patience, poke at your silence. They expect you to crumble, because that's what most people do. But when you don't, when you stay calm, something begins to shift. They start to notice, not because you explained yourself, but because you didn't. In a world obsessed with reaction, your lack of it becomes magnetic. You turn their confusion into curiosity. This is the quiet transition from rejection to respect. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, like erosion. Your consistency carving away their doubt, your steadiness exposing their instability. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality, and often we imagine that mockery will destroy us. But in truth, it sharpens us. Every insult you endure without resentment strengthens the muscle of detachment. Every time you stay calm, when they expect chaos, you rise a little higher in the invisible hierarchy of power, the one built on self-control. The more you master your reactions, the less they can touch you. That's when your difference starts to look like strength. People don't respect perfection, they respect persistence. When you stop trying to convince and start simply existing with quiet purpose, others eventually align to that energy. Because confidence that doesn't demand attention always commands it. You become a paradox, soft yet immovable, calm yet powerful. You're not chasing approval anymore. You're generating presence. And presence is far louder than performance. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's how difference becomes power. By living your philosophy, not preaching it. When you walk the talk, you no longer need to shout. In modern life, this applies everywhere. In workplaces where integrity is rare. In relationships where authenticity feels risky. In cultures where conformity is rewarded. You stand out not by trying to, but by refusing to compromise what matters. It's ironic. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth, the world starts to recognize it. Not because they suddenly understand, but because truth, lived consistently, becomes impossible to ignore. The Stoics believe that virtue, not success, not approval, is the only true measure of greatness. Virtue means aligning your actions with your principles, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. When you do that long enough, your difference stops being a threat and starts being an example. People will resist you, then question you, then follow you. It's always that sequence. At first, they'll say, "You're too serious." Then, "You're lucky." Then finally, How did you do it? But by then, you'll know. It wasn't luck, it was consistency. The Stoic path isn't glamorous. It's slow, repetitive, often invisible. But every repetition, every quiet act of integrity, every moment you refuse to bend, adds weight to your presence. You don't have to announce your transformation. People feel it. Your calm becomes your influence. Your restraint becomes your authority. And your silence, the same silence they once mocked, becomes the sound of mastery. When your difference matures into power, something even deeper happens. Your empathy expands. You no longer see mockery as cruelty, but as confusion. You stop resenting people for not understanding you, because now you see what they couldn't. That ridicule is just fear wearing a mask. The Stoics practiced compassion without attachment. They didn't hate the crowd. They pitied it. They understood that ignorance, not malice, drives most cruelty. And when you reach that realization, you become untouchable, not because you're above people, but because you finally stopped needing their approval. You begin to live differently. You give without expecting gratitude. You lead without demanding loyalty. You stay kind, even when kindness is mocked, because it no longer costs you peace. That's the highest form of strength. When your peace is not dependent on the behavior of others. When your inner world remains steady, no matter how the outer one trembles. Modern life tests this every day. Social media thrives on outrage. Every opinion becomes a battlefield, every difference a potential insult. But the Stoic understands you can't fight chaos with more chaos. Instead of reacting, you observe. Instead of arguing, you understand. You realize that most people don't want truth, they want validation. And when you stop giving them that, you break the invisible chain of dependence that keeps society anxious. This isn't detachment from humanity, it's maturity within it. Because when you no longer need to be right, you finally start to be wise. When you no longer need to win, you begin to lead. Your difference becomes the antidote to the noise, and in a world drowning in opinions, quiet conviction is the rarest form of power. That's how a Stoic lives, not above society, but deeply within it, and touched by its storms, yet fully aware of its suffering. The ultimate transformation happens quietly. You wake up one day and realize you no longer crave validation, revenge, or even recognition. You've outgrown the need to be understood. The laughter that once hurt you now sounds distant, like thunder after a storm has passed. You see clearly that every word, every insult, every moment of isolation was preparing you for this stillness, because this is what power truly looks like. Not dominance, not control, but peace. Peace that can't be bought, borrowed, or stolen. Peace that comes from knowing who you are and no longer needing the world to confirm it. The Stoics weren't superheroes. They were humans who learned that real strength comes from acceptance, not resistance. From discipline, not drama. From inner order, not out of validation. So yes, they mocked you for being different. But in time, your difference became your destiny. And the world, once laughing, now listens. Let's step back for a moment. Everything we've explored, the laughter, the rejection, the silence, the calm, all leads to one truth. Your difference is not a flaw, it's a signal. It's proof that you're evolving in a world that fears evolution. In the beginning, they mocked you because they couldn't categorize you. You didn't fit the mold. Not loud enough, not soft enough, not ordinary enough. But every label they threw at you became a layer of armor. Every time you stayed silent when they expected you to defend yourself, you were strengthening something invisible. Your center. That's the beauty of Stoic growth. It's not loud, not dramatic, not even visible from the outside. It's internal, subtle, cumulative. And one day, it becomes unshakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you rise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's what this is all about. You don't need the world to approve your difference. You just need to stay awake to the privilege of being fully yourself. Calm, aware, free. So, what do you do with this difference now? You build with it. You let it shape your choices, your work, your relationships, not as rebellion, but as expression. You lead quietly, you listen deeply, and you walk with purpose. The Stoic doesn't seek power through domination, but through direction, through clarity, through the courage to stay still when everyone else is rushing. In today's world, especially here in the West, in the noise of modern Canada, that stillness becomes radical. People will ask why you don't argue, why you don't complain, why you seem calm when everything's on fire. They'll call you cold, detached, maybe even indifferent. But you'll know, this is strength. This is freedom disguised as discipline. You are no longer chasing the approval of a crowd that doesn't know itself. You're shaping your life like an artist, with patience, intention, and quiet confidence. And that's how your difference becomes beauty. In the end, it's not about being right or being respected. It's about being at peace with who you are and with who they are not. Because peace is the only power that never fades. Remember what the Stoics taught. You can't control the world, but you can control your inner weather. You can decide that no laughter will define you, no rejection will break you, and no misunderstanding will move you off your path. So the next time they laugh, let them. You don't need to explain. You don't need to win. Just keep building, quietly, deliberately, relentlessly. Because one day, when the noise fades and the dust settles, they'll look round and realize you were never behind. You were simply walking a different road, the Stoic road. And now, they can finally see where it leads. There's a moment, after the noise fades, after the world stops demanding your reaction, when you finally understand, you never had to prove anything. All along, you were enough. Not because the world said so, but because you stayed true to who you are when it would have been easier to break. That's what separates the fragile from the free. So if they mocked you for being different, thank them. They gave you the pressure you needed to become unshakable. They handed you the resistance that shaped your strength. They tested you, and in doing so, they revealed your depth. You see, the Stoics never promised an easy life. They promised a meaningful one. And meaning doesn't come from being liked, but from being aligned with your values, your direction, your inner peace. That's what this journey is about. To stand tall in a world built on noise. To love deeply in a world driven by ego. To remain calm when others lose control. To be different and proud of it. Because difference is not rebellion. It's authenticity. And in a time where most people trade their truth for approval, authenticity is revolutionary. So wear your difference with quiet confidence. Carry it like armor, not apology. And when the world laughs again, smile. Not because you don't feel the sting, but because you've learned that every sound that tries to diminish you only echoes your strength. This is the Stoic path. It's not loud, it's not popular, but it's real. And if you walk it long enough, it will lead you to something no crowd can ever give. Peace that stays. If this message spoke to you, if you've ever felt misunderstood, alone, or laughed at for walking your own path, remember, you're not alone. There's a community of people here on StoicCraft who walk the same quiet road every day, learning to master themselves in a world that never stops testing them. So, join us. Subscribe, leave a comment, share your story, not for attention, but for connection. Because in a world that rewards noise, Your calm might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And never forget, they mocked you because you were different. You win because you stayed that way.